a guy who I think's probably heard that interview and probably agrees with me that the mom had just as much right not to be happy as she portrays in that interview, which we'll play in its entirety later in the show. Galen Unall from Life South. Galen, you're a veteran, served in the U.S. Navy, and you're a father who understands what it would be like to send his son off to war because you went off to war. I'm going to play this audio later in the show, but this mom, boy, she doesn't hold back, does she?
No, and again, it's hard to blame her, right? I mean, she's now a gold star, right? She's a gold star mom, and she has every right to say whatever she wants to say because she gave the ultimate sacrifice for defending our country, and I think she's dead on. I think everything she says in that interview is factual. So. Yeah, it wasn't
an interview. It wasn't an interview more as it was. She just made an 8-minute statement.
Right, fair enough.
Sometimes a radio show host, you just need to get out of the way. And that radio show host, the WOCA show, he got out of the way and just let her have her moment.
Right, and again, you know, when I'm sure one of the proudest moments of that mom's life was when her son joined the Marines. Right. I mean, you know, people who join the Marines, they're not, well, maybe we'll see if I like it. You know, they don't call them gung-ho Marines for nothing. Right. You join the Marines because you want to be.
You want to be one of the few, the proud, the United States Marines.
That's correct. Yeah. And they don't just take everybody either. So
you don't flip a coin and say Air Force or Marines. Oh, look, I'm going to the Marines. You don't do that.
No, it's the hardest branch of service to get into. Most people don't believe that or know that, but that's a fact. And that phone call is exactly right. And I think her son died for a political statement, which is something she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life. And more importantly, I think Joe Biden for the rest of history. You know, we'll forget this Marine's name. We'll forget who this mom is, but we will never forget the way Joe Biden handled Afghanistan and the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
The sentence "dimension-ridden piece of crap" is trending. Feckless piece of crap. That's right.
Feckless.
Dementia feckless piece of crap. You know, trending on Instagram and Twitter all weekend. You know,
and rightfully so. I understand both. You know, I understand the sentiment, and the issue is there's nobody, and rightfully so. There's nobody coming out and saying, "Wait a second, this isn't that bad." You know, it's like, no. And then they keep saying, oh, there could be more. Well, you know, this wouldn't have been happening if you would have told us what was, you know, if you would have had a very clear vision. There are more Marines there now than there were a month ago.
And by the way, the Marines that are there now, set up a defense of the airport that shot down 2 missiles that were aimed at the airport. The American defense system that is set up around the airport now took out those 2 missiles without any problems, and nobody at the airport got blown up over the weekend because the U.S. military has its protective cloak up around the airport again now, and those kind of things get shot down.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is what happens when you make military decisions for political reasons. Nothing good.
I know why our forefathers wanted the civilian oversight of the military. They wanted the military to answer to the civilians, not the other way around. I understand why George Washington thought that was so important. I understand why Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, Button Gwinnett. I understand why all those guys thought that was so important. But this is the first time in history that's kind of backfired on them, I think. Well, I don't know, Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam was a backfire.
It's happened a lot more than that.
Yeah. This is the first time. It's not the first time because there's political gain all the time with the military. It's so aggravating that You know, I want to blame everything on this being the first time because I would not think anybody would be so stupid as to do this before, but they have. They have.
Yeah, and again, you were all human, right? But again, you would hope that somebody would make a much better decision than this. And it doesn't.
Where's the chief of staff? Where's the Joint Chiefs of Staff on this?
Well, that's just it. You have all of those pieces that are supposed to be supportive, but again, we know what this military's become because they've told us. You know, they want, and again, I served, and they want people to be able to transition from a male to a female or from a female to male while serving our country, so that we pay for it. And there's so many little things like that tell me that they've taken their eye off of the ball of being prepared and ready to fight at a moment's notice anywhere in this world, at the four corners of the globe, right? We are no longer mission ready. And let's see if this recorrects that so that we're not focused on CRT and we're not focused on making sure that, you know, Black Lives Matter is properly educated in our military service. Trust me, I served. That was never an issue because the guy standing next to you, you viewed him based on his rank. And I was telling my wife this, the way his uniform looked. You can tell a sailor or a soldier or an airman, you can look at his uniform in about 15 seconds and figure out what kind of a soldier, sailor, or airman they are, because you wear that uniform every day, and some wear it with great pride, and some are just dirtbags. And that's all you needed to know about that guy standing next to you. You didn't need to know about his political views. You know why? Because you really didn't care. But that's completely changed, just like everything else. Everything else is political. So I guess our military has now become political, and that's a shame. Well, that's an absolute shame.
And it is a terrible shame because when politics and policy start dictating whether Americans lose their lives or not, we've lost. We've just lost.
Yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely right. So we have to figure out how we go from here and how we fix it. How do we get all of these people out of that country? Should be our only concern right now. And I'm not sure if that's the case.
Hold on. Wait, Galen, we have this pandemic going on. If you listen to CSNBC and MSNBC and CNN and all the mainstream media that swear they don't have a liberal leaning, but all they've talked about all weekend is how bad COVID is. Not once have you heard about how bad Kabul is. Not once have you heard about the Marines that were murdered there or anything. It's been COVID. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The Delta variant is overrunning the country. Hospital rooms are booked. Look, we got much more important things to worry about than whether military people are losing their lives in Kabul. Calm down, Galen.
That's fair. And again, I didn't think anything could get more political than this virus, but and you can see that. I mean, but I haven't met anybody and talked to anybody, and including some people who think that Biden is the second coming of Obama. And we all know how they feel about Obama, but nobody is going, wow, he really handled this Afghanistan thing perfectly. No one.
Has said no one ever. We need to take a break. Yeah. We come back more with Galen Unaw from Life South. You listen to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or the UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
It's Monday. Not sure how you did it, but you actually survived an entire 2 days without hearing from Tom. Good job to you. And once again, good luck.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Monday. Galen Unall from Life South joined us. We opened the show on sort of a angry but somber note. And I'll play the interview of the mother of one of the Marines that were killed in Kabul. She doesn't pull any punches, folks. I'll play that interview in its entirety later in the show. Galen, let's switch gears for a minute. High school football kicked off in the area over the weekend. Well, give us an update on, because I know with some things going on with you and some other people, scheduling has been a little amiss. When will we have the first football game on the airwaves here at WOCA?
Not this Friday, but next Friday. So it'll be Westport taking on North Marion. So Westport got throttled pretty well Friday against Jesuit. That's arguably a top 10 team in the state of Florida. They're number 2 in Class 6A. That was a really good ball club. I had a good long conversation with Coach Steve Rim on Saturday, and just to play here and to play there, and that's a completely different game. But rough start, good start for Vanguard.
They ran Gainesville out of the gym.
And Gainesville is just not the team they once were. Gainesville football is not very good.
Don't tell Denellen that. Don't say that to Denellen.
Well, good thing Dunellen's not in Gainesville.
No, because they got boat raced by Buchholz.
I know they did. I want to see the film on that, because I'm really surprised. So I will see that film hopefully later this week.
35-0. That to me, that was the most surprising score of the weekend. 35-0. Buchholz defeats Denellen, and I mean they boat raced Denellen.
Yeah, and I would have never ever guessed that, because I had Dunellen being in a class right there with Trinity as the best team in the county. So, I don't know quite what to say about it. So, because I need to watch the film.
And this weekend, Westport gets boat raced, but by the second ranked team in 6A. So that's not that big of a surprise. North Marion boat races Forest. Forest both have better defense.
That's not a shock.
North Marion,
no. Well, you got to remember, Forest, their best 2 players on defense
left.
Transferred. Yeah. They went with the Trinity. Your boy over at Trinity is recruiting really, really well. So
it was 28-0 in the Buchholz Denellen game in the first half. So that game was never in doubt. But the team that held strong in Marion High School football, first year Bellevue football coach Brady Ackerman. He had a 33-8 win over Umatilla.
Yeah, and again, I have a lot of connections over there now. But what's interesting is Bellevue could come in. They could start the season 5-0. When you look at their schedule, it's soft. At the same time, Brady has done a really good job. I mean, I'm hearing some really good things about what he's just trying to change the culture, right? Trying to change how they're preparing, because Brady knows what it is. He knows he knows football, right? We can give him crap about a lot of things, but the man knows football.
100%.
So next week they play Bronson. Bronson is a pretty terrible football team. Crystal River, then LeCanto, Lake Weir. We know where Lake Weir is. Then they play Springstead. Now that will be an interesting game. They play Williston. They should handle Williston pretty easy. And Pasco is going to be a very difficult game, and then they play Vanguard and Wikiwachi. So they could easily be 5-0, and everybody in the county is going, oh, wow. And guess who's the last coach who did this kind of a schedule? John Brantley.
Yes.
Right? And that worked pretty well. I always thought that was a smart way to build on things. Every team's got some. There's no really super team this year. I thought that Dunellen team was better than that because they had their 2 stars come back. I really need to watch that film. I saw that when I got home on Saturday. And I went, what in the world happened?
Because I did not see Buchholz as a 35-point winner against Dunellen. I just
because Buchholz doesn't have anything.
No.
So maybe they took him for granted the way everybody else did. So.
But good. You know what the best part of this weekend was? I drove by Booster Stadium Friday night, and the parking lot was full.
Sure.
I watched football on Saturday. I watched the Alcorn State game. The stands were full. I watched the Miami Dolphins playoff game. The Miami Dolphins preseason game yesterday. Stands were 3/4 full.
Love it.
That means, sports always comes back to normal before the rest of society, usually. And this is another instant case where sports is showing you. And, people are going to say, oh, super spreader event. Folks, this virus isn't going anywhere. Putting your head in the sand like an ostrich is not going to help. Wash your hands. Stay apart from people. If you're sick, stay home. Wear a mask if you want to help stop the spread. But we got to venture outside. We got to return to normal. We got to return to a life that is not with our head in the sand, worried about whether we're going to get COVID or not. And I know people are dying, but believe me, County Commissioner Carl Zalek lost both his parents over the weekend to COVID-related illness. I understand it kills people. I get that. And I understand that, but it's going to kill people whether we stay indoors, locked down, or not. Because the virus is where it is. It's in the air. So I was very glad to see people back in the stands and a return to normalcy, because just like with the Spanish flu back in the early 1900s, the Spanish flu didn't go anywhere either. There's no eradication of the Spanish flu. It's still around.
That's right.
So I was very glad to see people in the stands at football games and to see them. This is the first, like the historical black colleges, this is the first time they played in over 600 days because they canceled their season altogether. The MEAC and stuff like that, the SWAC, they canceled their seasons.
They had a mini series last summer, so they did have kind of a season, but not much of one. My son was at the Vanguard game, and he said, "Dad, it was packed. It was so much fun."
Oh yeah.
So, and again, let's break it down. I mean, it's about the kids, right? It's about the kids on the field. It's about the kids in the stands. It's about the band. And the parents that get to watch their kids do what their kids love to do. And for my son, it's his senior year, and I know what that means as a senior. I would have not known what to do with myself if my senior year of football had said, "Yeah, we're canceling. Sorry." I'd have probably hit an adult. Unbelievable.
I would have probably punched an adult in the mouth. At my mindset at 18, and I was 18 at that time. My mindset at 18, if you'd have told me I couldn't have played football because some adults decided it was too dangerous for me, I'd have punched an adult in the mouth. I'm not kidding you.
Well,
it would have been that intense for me.
I mean, think about how fortunate we were to have a football season last year.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
serious talk about not having it. Yeah.
Like it was the worst decision you could make. You're going to kill people, and you're going to kill these kids. And I was like, man, you've never hung out with a high school athlete if you think that that's what's going to kill them. You tell some of these kids they can't play football. All you're going to do is depress them, and what are they supposed to do at that point? So, yeah, I'm glad they're playing. I was really glad my son got to play basketball. I don't care if it's an empty gym. At some point, just let them play.
If kids were like, I promise you, when I was between the ages of 14 and 18, the only reason I didn't go to the juvenile detention facility on a regular basis for mauling people and beating people up for no reason and abusing people, I was not a good kid. I'll be the first one to tell you, I was a horrible bully who was the worst bully in the world, because I'd bully kids and then they would stand up to me and I'd say, finally, somebody that stands up to me, and then I'd beat them down. I wasn't a bully that when you stood up to me, I ran. I was the bully that when you stood up to me, I had respect to you for standing up to me, but I still crushed you. I was not a good kid. Okay? I was a bad human being. And if it hadn't have been for football between the ages of 14 and 18, I'd have been a really horrible human being. But I was able to take out, I had a bad home life. I'll be the first to tell you I had a bad home life. I had a stepfather and a mother who physically abused us as children. And so I took that out on people that I had in my daily life, kids at school. If it hadn't been for football, it'd have been a real ugly mess in the hallways at Terry Parker High School, West Nassau High School, and Chamblee High School. Because I went to 3 different high schools in 3 years because I was so bad that you got to get out of here. But if it hadn't been for football, I'd have probably been put in jail. I'd have probably been one of those, those shows where teenagers, life without parole, should they get out or not now that they're adults? I'd have probably been, and I'm not laughing, I probably would have been that guy, because I was so angry and so just frustrated where my home life was that I took it out on anybody that got in my way, and I took it out on them violently. And that's why I was so good at football. I wasn't the best skilled at football. I wasn't the most gifted talent at football, but I would try to separate your head from your body every time I hit you. And it wasn't personal. I was getting out all my anger and frustration trying to hurt you. If somebody had canceled my senior season, oh my God, the felony charges I'd have probably faced. And that's the God's honest truth. That's not trying to be funny, folks. I was not a nice human being. And a lot of times, you don't know what these kids are going through. You don't know what their home lives are.
No. And for some of them, it just gives them a purpose, and I gives them something to work for.
It gave me a purpose. It definitely did.
Yeah, it's a place where you can see where hard work pays off, right? It's talked about a lot. Oh yeah, hard work pays off. A lot of these kids don't see that, but on the football field or on the basketball court or wherever they are, you can see it when somebody works really hard, and the benefits you instantly see it on the field or the court or whatever in the next week.
100% correct. We got to take a break. We come back more with Galen Unoff from Lifestyles on 1370 AM. This is 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Hurricane Ida went